Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dahlem Company podcast. This is where we explore the dynamic world of commercial real estate and the ever-evolving landscape of business today. I'm your host, T. Ridge, and joining me are the owners of Dahlem Company, Jim and Charlie Dahlem. And today, special guest, CEO of ISCO Industries, as well as part owner of Valhalla Golf Club, Jimmy Kirchdorfer. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn from some of the best in the business. And welcome to the Dahlem Company podcast. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Wonderful. Great to be here.
Great.
So, Jimmy, I'm going to start with you here. First of all, thank you for joining us. Can you give us a little bit of your background and the history and founding of ISCO Industries?
Yeah, ISCO was founded by my father in 1962, and it was really irrigation supply company. It was a total different company than it was today, and we changed it to ISCO. My brother and I bought it in the 90s and really changed it to ISCO because we realized, the irrigation, it's an important part of our business, but really wasn't where the growth was. So we no longer do the sprinklers and all that irrigation stuff. We're a high-density polyethylene piping company for a lot of different applications.
So what inspired you and your brother to buy the company in the 90s?
Well, we saw growth potential, and we didn't really see it in the golf irrigation. I remember we would sell, have a big year in the state of Kentucky and sell almost every golf course that needed it. Mm-hmm. And we go to the national conventions and, not even get a mention because either Florida and Texas and all in Arizona, they're selling 20 times as much as we were selling. So we're like, how can we really scale this? We didn't really see an opportunity to scale it. But in the piping side, there was kind of a newer high-density polyethylene pipe was kind of the new kid on the block, replacing PVC and steel. And we're like, this has a lot of potential. No one has scaled it nationwide yet. We can be the first to do that. And so we went and really focused on that, kind of reinvested all the profits we were making in that and didn't have to do it with taking on equity. We did some acquisitions, some small acquisitions, some greenfield expansion, and now we're the largest nationwide, and we do a lot of global in this product line.
It's pretty cool.
When you talk about applications, just what are some of the applications, for instance?
It's industrial, and it's all underground, so no buildings or anything like that. It's, for instance, landfills use a lot of our product. They use it for when they build a landfill, they got to put kind of a fishbone at the bottom to collect all the leachate, which is kind of, nasty water that goes through the landfill. And then when they cap a landfill, they close it off, they'll drill down and put the whole thing kind of under a vacuum to pull off the methane gas, which is harmful to the environment. They can pull the methane gas off and use it for energy. So it's kind of a waste to energy recycling kind of thing. So that's one application. A lot of mining, coal mines will use it, copper mines, industrial applications for like big fire protection, steel mills, oil and gas will use it. We'll sell like Louisville Gas and Electric will use some of our pipe fittings and so forth, or other gas companies use it for that. So it's not a very exciting business. It's like I said, our product you don't even see. It's all underground. So, but it's been great. Paid the bills.
Super.
Allowed me to do some fun stuff too.
Now, Jimmy, are you guys still involved in the golf industry at all?
Yes, we are. We still sell the pipe for golf irrigation equipment. We got out of we used to sell the Rainbird sprinklers and the wires and the controls and all that. And in the 90s, my brother and I, we kind of divested of that and really kind of doubled down on the piping side. But our pipe is used a lot for golf irrigation, which is a great market. It's kind of near and dear to our hearts.
Sure.
It's where we got our start. So
Sure.
We still sell a lot of the pipe for the new golf courses that are being constructed for the irrigation, and also there's a lot of renovation going on.
So, Jim, Charlie, you guys have a somewhat of a similar path. You guys bought your company from your father and kind of changed what you guys do a little bit too. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we started. My grandfather started the company in 1931 as a general contractor, and he was renovating storefronts down on 4th Street because that was where all the shopping was. And over time, the construction company became less of our business, and the real estate had grown to be the big dog.
Right.
And in 1998, we sold the construction company to a couple of the employees, and we moved on just doing commercial real estate.
Gotcha.
So it was a great run. We did a lot of commercial construction all over the region, and again, near and dear to our heart. And it was a difficult decision to make. I was talking to somebody about that yesterday, and John Schnatter, we built his aircraft hangar for him over in southern Indiana. And I ran into
Bubba
him
John.
somewhere. Yeah, I ran into him somewhere right after I sold the company. And he said, I heard you sold the construction company. I said, yeah. He said, hardest decision you ever made and best decision you ever made, right? And I said, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You nailed it in just a few words.
Yeah.
So, Jimmy, ISCO has really obviously grown under you and your brother's leadership. What strategies have been most effective in driving that growth?
I look back and probably the biggest component to our success was being able to attract the right people and retain them. And I don't really know, because neither one of us ever worked somewhere else. But I had a lot of friends that did, and I would talk to them about what they liked or what they didn't like about where they worked. And we were fortunate enough to be able to, we give an opportunity, and to buy the company. But I was like, if we didn't have that, I want to create a company that we would would enjoy working at and have opportunity. So, I'd hear friends talk about what they didn't like, or hey, they have no idea about the vision, where the company is going to go. It's just a job. No one's explaining them the bigger picture. So we do a great job of setting a vision. We have core values that are really important, and the biggest thing we say is we're going to hire people and give them opportunity. Mm-hmm. We tell them and say, and our job is to give you opportunity. The only way really to do that is to have a growing company. And a lot of my son is 24, my daughter's 22 now, and a lot of their friends are asked for advice and so forth. And I say, let me give you one thing. Get with a company and an industry that is growing. Because otherwise, you got to wait for somebody to retire or whatever, for opportunity. So I was like, we're going to grow the company, and we're reinvesting everything we make back in it to grow it. And if you come to work at ISCO, you get opportunity. And when you're successful, or if you're successful, it's not really anything we did. We don't take credit for it. It's what you did. And likewise, if you're not successful, if you're not doing a good job, don't blame us. It's you. So it's kind of like, I use the example of, it's kind of like, raising a kid in some ways. And the fact that you can give them opportunities, really all you can do. And if they have success, it's on them. If they don't, it's on them. But our job is to give people opportunities. So it's really, I know it's kind of a cliche, but it's about the people we've been able to acquire and being in an industry that's growing and reinvesting. A lot of the people we competed with, we saw them kind of suck out all the profits. Maybe some larger corporations that would kind of dabble in our product space. They don't reinvest the profits. And my brother and I made that decision to do that, which created growth, which spiraled upward, which got the right people on the team, which created more growth, and it was just a great spiral.
We did a lot of the same, very similar, with our company, because we would reinvest the profits in other properties and buy properties. And strategically, I think the best thing that we did was we started to expand outside of Louisville, Jefferson County. Yeah. And so we bought properties that were in other states. And so we didn't diversify necessarily in the type of real estate. It was still retail, but we diversified into different cities that were continuing to grow, and so that was, I think, the big thing that we did when we took over the company.
Yeah, and I think coming into a family business, you want to grow it. I mean, we didn't want to milk what our father did, and he created really as a lifestyle business, maybe 10 employees or so, and it was a good business. But if it was like, hey, come in and do what I did, I mean, it just wasn't appealing to us. We wanted to see something that we could scale and grow. And it was right around the time when I graduated college in '91, kind of coming into the business. I started the Monday after the Saturday graduation. But I'd been working summers in our plant and driving trucks and stuff like that. But that there was opportunity to grow there, and we saw that, and we could reinvest in that. And coming in and with my brother and I of seeing my father had worked so hard at it, and you don't want to just come and milk it. You want to come and have opportunity to do something and put your own stamp on it. So that was important to us that we had that opportunity.
Pretty cool. I mean, listen, the success and the growth have been overwhelming. Obviously, there's been challenges along the way, Jimmy. What are some of those challenges you've had to overcome?
Probably, I remember the most, I look back and I thought I was really smart. I don't think I really wasn't looking back now. I mean, I guess, but I had the confidence for some reason and the belief. But so you're making mistakes, but the mistakes we made were when we were smaller and they're easier to fix. And you can fix a lot of mistakes with volume. We're in a growing business, and okay, maybe we hired too many people or whatever, but if you always sales minded and say let's expand to another city, another state, and then we could do that. And right around when we were starting, the internet was becoming a thing. Email. It really changed how white collar people did their jobs.
Right.
And it used to be you had to be in the office, wait for the phone to ring, or else no one could get a hold of you. So, cell phones, email, all these things. And we were able to centralize how we did business. It was, before the model was a branch, you would expand somewhere and you would put a branch. And with that branch, you'd have a branch manager, and that branch manager would have their own salespeople, their own trucks, and so forth. So with the 800 number, that we kind of had a centralized kind of the service, all the strategic decisions being made centrally, and putting a really talented sales force face-to-face with the customer. The customer didn't really want to come to our facility anyway. Our facilities were pretty much distribution sites, not fancy branches.
Right.
So they would call when they need help. We'd have really a salesperson that could meet with them face-to-face and talk about ISCO and tell the ISCO story. And that was a different model than was occurring in the piping industry at that time, which was before was a branch-centric model.
Interesting. That's fascinating. I love it. I love every bit of this. All right. So obviously you guys were visionaries. You kind of saw something that was you could grow and need, and there was a need in the industry. What's next? What's the future?
The future for ISCO is kind of, it's still growth. We have this thing called, we think we're still in our infancy stage. Because we are in HDPE, which is a plastic pipe. It is a superior product to, in our opinion, obviously we're biased, steel or PVC pipe, and it's a really slow industry to change. Engineers, municipal engineers, it takes it's a big decision when they're changing. They probably won't make a bigger decision in their career than changing piping materials.
Right.
So they're not notoriously big risk takers. So it's a slow kind of change. So we still see a lot of growth opportunity ahead. And by reinvesting, we're creating, we call it moats a little bit about, that it'd be difficult to emulate ISCO. You'd have to come in, buy a lot of equipment, hire some great people to be able to compete with us. So we still think we have a lot of runway to grow our business. And, we're in Canada now. We have 4 sites in Canada. We do a lot of export, and I get excited about that. I go to our plant here in Louisville, and I see something we're making that we're shipping outside the U.S., and it just gives me pride because I just think for so many years this country just imported so much product, and we're using Kentucky people to make this U.S. people and product, and we're fabricating a big pipe fixture that is our expertise that we can do that's going to wherever, Malaysia or Singapore, wherever. And I get excited about that because I think taking our expertise around the world is fantastic.
That's an awesome answer.
That's cool.
All right. So this is something that Dahlem's big into, and obviously you guys are too, Jimmy. But why is it important that ISCO, and I'm going to ask you guys the same question, and Dahlem support the communities they operate in?
Why don't you go ahead and start, Charlie?
Well, I mean, when you look around, you reach an age where it's your turn. It's the next person up, and you start looking around at the leaders who came before us, who supported the community, and you appreciate what the community has given you, and it's time for you to give back your time, talent, treasure, whatever it is. But identify something in the community where you can make a difference and make a difference in someone's life, and maybe help them have the opportunities that you've had in your life. And we've identified, for instance, the Catholic Education Foundation.
Right.
That's that's my big one anyway. And there's a few others, Hospice Health, but if you can educate a kid, they've got an opportunity to take them anywhere. The next president of the United States, right?
And we focused on kind of like my brother and I, kind of our business is about giving opportunities. And our mission statement is to create long-term opportunities for members of the ISCO team by adding value to our products and services, proactively executing our vision and developing mutually successful relationships with our customers. But opportunities is the big thing, and long-term opportunities. So even in our philanthropy, we're like, how do we give opportunity to people? We can't make people have a better life by just giving them, donating, but how can we give them opportunities so they can do it themselves? And just like you're saying, Charlie, of education is a great thing.
Sure.
The Catholic Education Foundation, we were both raised, my brother and I raised in that. It was, it was a community. My father was the athletics director, and it was neat to see that community that we grew up in. We didn't know anything different at the time. But looking back, how can we help that mission? We're involved in really golf. Another thing that was great to us is our father put a golf club in our hands at a young age, and it transformed both of our lives. I mean, I would walk to Crescent Hill on a 9-hole municipal golf course when I was a kid. I had independence. I would, grade school, or 4th grade or whatever, cut some grass, get some money, walk to the golf course and play 9 holes, meet some very interesting characters, and kind of grow up that way. But I mean, that game taught me a lot. So a lot of it's like, who doesn't have access to that? And, golf's been great to us. And it really, you talk to people like, unless their parents play golf, they don't play.
Right.
And the golf family tree goes straight down. And then I'm like, how can we get, maybe in the south end of Louisville, people that their parents didn't play golf, or how can we get them exposed? Because it could change their life. It just teaches you so much. And it's a great sport for young kids. And, all sports are. And it teaches team sports as well. It teaches a lot of hard work. In golf, you get good breaks from bad shots, bad breaks from good shots, and you got to learn to deal with that. And we would come home and frustrated, and one day happy the next. My mom always said she's never seen a happy golfer. You always come home thinking no matter what you shot, you're like, man, I left a few out there.
Oh, yeah.
Better. And then that's the same in business. At the end of the year, no matter how great the year is, we're like, man, still wasted some money here, made some bad decisions there. It could have been better.
Could have been better.
And that's a continuous improvement thing in us is from that.
Jim, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, my dad put a golf club in my hands early on, and I made the mistake of setting it down and went on the soccer field. Yeah. And so as a result, my golf game is really not so good. I'm still working at it, still get out there and do that, but enjoyed the soccer game. But I should have played much more golf, just like what you guys did.
Jimmy, now that you're going this path, I'm curious of this. Obviously, I'm a for the listeners who don't know, I have a very deep history in the golf industry as well. My uncle's part of the PGA Hall of Fame, and I grew up in the golf industry, and it obviously changed and transformed my life. Why it would be good if, let's say you haven't started golf, but maybe you're a young business professional or just get in and want to be able to cultivate relationships. Golf's a great game to be able to take up and do just that.
Yeah, I look back at, a lot of the business things that happened to me, positive things, friendships, other things, mentors of mine that I've learned from, I've met through that game, because you're really with somebody for 4 hours or whatever, and it's really hard to dislike somebody that you play golf with. Even if you have a lot of differences, if you spend the time with them and you play, maybe you're just randomly paired in a tournament.
Sure.
At the end of the day, you're like, I learned something about, I like that guy.
Right.
It's really weird. And then if you didn't do that, you're like, I don't really care for that person. And so, and there are a lot of great sports. I'm biased towards that, because I think, like anything, if you learn it as a kid, it's easier, whether it's skiing or whatever. I mean, it's harder to learn at an older age.
It's the hardest game in the world.
I can attest to that.
It's intimidating to some people, and it shouldn't be. I've played golf my whole life and like to think of myself as a decent golfer for my age, but
You're a good
I
golfer.
don't care what somebody else shoots when I play with them.
Right.
I don't care. I'd rather play with a person that an interesting person that I learn from, that shoots 100, than somebody else that shoots 70. That is not that way. So
I agree.
The biggest thing to realize in golf, because it is intimidating, no one cares what you shoot except yourself.
That's right. That's right.
We had a mentor at our company, Jerry Hinton, and he was started on the drafting board and ended up as the president and CEO of the company.
Okay.
48 years with the company.
Yeah, there's opportunity for growth there.
Yeah. And he, I was back in the construction business and going hard, and I don't have time to take somebody to play golf. That's 4 hours. He said, you don't have time not to. He said, you got an opportunity to get a potential client or a client, and you got their attention for 4 hours, and they get to know you, and you get to know them. And you get to see how they act and react in success and adversity. And they see how you act and react in success and adversity. And he said, and that can go a long way to making that person a customer for life.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So he said you can't afford not to.
That's pretty cool. All right, so this is going to be an interesting topic here. So obviously, Jim and Charlie are brothers, right? And they have ran Dahlem Company together. Jimmy, you talk about your brother Mark, and you guys are brothers and run ISCO together. Talk about the benefits and the challenges to being in business with a sibling.
It's been Mark and I have a great relationship. We've never had one argument, one disagreement. I think part of that is we both have different expertise a little bit. He went and has an engineering degree, really good at the operations of the company. And I don't know what I'm good at yet, but it's not operations and engineering. But we've fed off each other. I mean, if it's in his lane, I'm not going to really question his, because I don't have the knowledge to question him. As long as I know that the decisions are always made sincerely,
right,
in the best interest. We both make mistakes, and he doesn't really question me as well. As I kind of set the vision for the company and been more the face of it in a lot of ways, which doesn't bother him. And because I think the most important thing is we are partners in everything we do. We're 50-50 partners. There's never a time where I can benefit and he doesn't, or vice versa. And it's just somehow worked out really well. And I tell people that work in our company, if you tell Mark something, I'm never going to come to you and say, why didn't you tell me about that? If you say, I told Mark, I'm like, hey, that's Mark and I's job is to communicate with each other.
Sure.
If you tell Mark or you tell me or you ask permission from one of us, it's just like asking the other one as well. So I think that makes the people at ISCO feel comfortable. I'm never going to, as co-owners, and they know our commitment back to the people, to the company, and a lot of people were telling me, how do you work with your brother? I could never work with my brother. And I always say, well, I couldn't work with your brother either, like I know. So it's not about just the fact that you're brothers. It's the people and the person that it is, and we work great together.
Jim, Charlie, I can't wait to hear your all's answer to this one.
Well, we're identical twins, and so that gives us a big leg up as far as, we can almost often finish the other sentence. We have, yeah. And we respect each other. We trust each other. As you said, you're going to make mistakes, but nobody's making a mistake intentionally, and you just got to figure your way out of it. It's nice having someone there that if you go out of town, they're going to be making the right decisions for you and for the company. And we've had our disagreements, but it's over once it's over. It's just you've got to put it aside. Somebody told us, they said, you can decide to get back at your brother, but he might walk in the office and have the greatest opportunity for the company. And if you're pissed off about what just happened 5 minutes ago, you might blow it for the company for
great point,
for eternity. But you can get them back if you want to. And we just don't have those. But that was good advice.
Yeah, I think that one of the things about being in a family business is, you grow up with the people, and so everybody has their own idiosyncrasies, right? And everybody has their certain habits that they do, and so we have the ability to, when we go into the office, we have seen that all of our lives, so we know what that is versus our employees.
Sure.
And so, and sometimes, myself included, some things I might do might be a little annoying, okay, and that's something maybe I did when I was younger, when I was a kid. So but we know that about each other, and we care about each other, and we make it work, and it's just been a great relationship. Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool that you guys are able to kind of navigate that landscape. All right, Jimmy,
we're very lucky. We've had a great opportunity.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so Jimmy, obviously you're a part owner in Valhalla Golf Club. How did that start? How did you become involved?
It's, I didn't wake up at the beginning of the year and say, hey, my goal this year is to own Valhalla or whatever. I mean, it just never even occurred to me as an opportunity. It's been a great joy of mine, and it's been a little over 2 years since we bought it. But quick story is, it was founded by the Game family, Dwight Game and his sons in the 80s. And Dwight Game's the one that really took the risk. I mean, he went out there in his horse farm, hired Jack Nicklaus to design a golf course, wanted to do something for the community. Hey, a vision of Louisville can host major championships someday if we have this great golf course. And I'm telling you, a lot of people do that, and it doesn't work out. The grass doesn't grow right, or the design isn't what you thought, or whatever. But he did that and was successful and had the 1996 PGA. At the time, the PGA was wanting to own a golf course, PGA of America. This is different than the PGA Tour.
Right.
The PGA of America which is 29,000, golf professionals.
Yep.
It's basically their trade organization with a mission of really making the game better and growing the game, and hosting championships. So they host the PGA Championship, the Ryder Cup, and women's and men's PGA, and seniors and juniors and all that. So they wanted to own it, so they bought it from him, bought it from the game family in the late 90s, and brought major championships there. I think they wanted to have a backup course if something happened, the greens died or whatever at another facility. But for whatever reason, they bought it. We're a great owner. I became a member in 2004.
Okay.
I was maybe 37 years old. I remember it being a great day for me. I was just proud of myself. I went to Crescent Hill Golf Course, a 9-hole course, and I was a member at Valhalla, and what that meant to me. So I loved the place. Played golf with, developed some great friendships there. And then I remember where I was when I got an email saying the PGA has been approached about selling the property, or somebody wanting to buy it, and they're opening up for bids. And at first I was like, well, I don't really want to do that. And the more I thought about it, it just irked me a little bit from the standpoint, it just concerned me that what if this gets in the wrong hands? Because PGA was a great benevolent owner of it and cared about the property, reinvested in it, brought championships, cared about the community. And then what if the wrong person, what if a real estate developer from, out of state came and bought it? Or, just like me buying a course in Florida or New York, I wouldn't love it the way I do if it's ours. So I'm like, we have to keep this locally owned by people that care about the heritage and are owning it for the right reasons. And fortunately, through ISCO was successful. I have the means and resource to do that, and not to look at this as a financial investment. Look at it more as a passion project, I guess. So I was able to, some friends I played golf with, a foursome, we played golf together, really. Junior Bridgman, a lot of people know him in the community. Just a great businessman. I could talk hours about all these guys. David Novak was the former CEO of Yum Brands, passionate golfer, both these guys. And then Chess Musselman, a great friend of mine that's a passionate golfer. Their family's done a lot for golf in the community. And an operator, a hotelier, developer. Hospitality, which I didn't have that side of it. So the four of us, I convinced them to go in with me. I was like, let's try and buy this. We had to kind of pay... PGA is a nonprofit organization. We had to pay, I guess, maybe for-profit buyer pricing for a guy with a group that doesn't have that. But that's okay. We did it because we love the property, we love the game. We had vision of how we can make it better. It's an asset we saw, with local owners. Nothing replaces local ownership. And as a lot of people, and people, there's just the owner there looking at it. It's hard to beat that. So the four of us there, we bought it 2 years ago. How can we make this fantastic facility? We already had the PGA Championship on the books for 2024, so we bought it like less than 2 years before that. So we just went all out, and so the whole world's going to see us in May of 24. Redid the clubhouse. I can go on and on about all the changes we made to the golf course. It ended up looking great on TV. We had a wildly successful PGA Championship, and that's how we ended up owning it. And we're really, the four of us are having a great time coming up with a vision and executing it and owning it.
Super
what
cool.
What you all done with the course, with the facility, the love and the intention. The everything's so intentional that you all done, and they've done it themselves. They're not going around and got their hand out to the membership. These guys have really taken a Louisville gym, and elevated to a place that you just don't recognize it. It's fabulous.
That's really well done. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And Louisville, I'm proud of Louisville. It doesn't have a lot of professional sports or whatever. We have Churchill Downs. We have great minor league baseball, great minor league soccer, and college sports. But Valhalla was part of the heritage of the sports community here.
Oh yeah.
And it could have gone away.
Right.
It's great land. You could have built houses around it. The economically prudent thing to do really is to develop a lot of
it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do that because it would take away from the course and take away from the beauty of it. And so, we just decided we want to do that. And one of the things, we wanted to create a great club. And club is not a golf course and building. It's a group of people that have a similar passion and interest. And so, one of the things I'm proud of and we worked on is, we want people that care about it and have that passion for Louisville or for golf, and spend a lot of time on getting the right people involved in the right membership. And we had corporate members before, and I'm like, our members should be people, not corporations. And we gave all their money back to the people that we didn't think lined up with our vision and our values there, and then attracted some new people. One guy got through the cracks here, Charlie. But people that were in it for the right reasons, and it's been great.
So, little side note. The original clubhouse, the PGA building, I told you this, in 1986, 84 probably when it started. Dahlem Construction Company built that.
I didn't know.
Did they really?
Built that. And a young James Dahlem, at the tender age of 18 years old, was on site working.
Cool.
Oh,
I was on the site working.
Well, that building is still there,
Yep.
and we use it for our halfway house, and there's the PGA's headquarters there.
Right.
At one time, that was our clubhouse.
Yeah.
It was a rainy season when it was being built, and I understand they had to regrade the greens twice. That's how much rain was coming down.
Wow.
And I would walk up to the site, and one time I lost my boot in the mud, and I had to get my foot back in it really fast before it sank in the mud. And it was just raining on us the whole time as I was a laborer out there. And when I get back to my car, I always brought garbage bags with me because I looked like I'd rolled around in mud so much, and it was rather miserable, but it was character building.
Cool stories. All right, so Jimmy, obviously the PGA Championship here in 2024 had some record-breaking, highest grossing ticket sales, highest grossing hospitality. Go into some of that for us.
Yeah, I'm proud of and when we bought it, PGA said, "Hey, 2019 at Charlotte was a record," and at the time, and I'm like, well, I think Louisville is going to really support this, and quite frankly, in 2014, we really supported it in 2000 and the Ryder Cup in 2008. Maybe not as much in 14 for some reason, but I'm like, we can, the four of us owners are in the community and explaining, hey, we need to support this. They're making a big investment and big belief in Louisville to come here and bring the PGA Championship. And I had a party at my house with Justin Thomas agreed to come and speak. I invited business leaders and, let's talk about why this is important for everybody to support it, why this community to support it, and how it's going to be great, a great entertainment and great for the city. And I was amazed how quickly we sold out. And we added more hospitality, and we sold that more. And finally, we're like, we don't have any more room to add that. And ended up being the largest build-out of any PGA championship in history, 750,000 square feet or something. I don't remember the exact number, but it was like, it's built out as far as tent under roof. And that was the corporates, people supporting it, and the members. And so the CEO of PGA, Seth Wallace, he said, Louisville shows up. Louisville showed up. And I was really proud of our community for doing that. And it was people I talked to had a great time, brought in people to this city that, from all over the world came in. Maybe they did a bourbon tour, maybe they did a horse tour, maybe they saw what our city has to offer, but it was a reason for them to come here. I know ISCO, we had a big chalet on 17th hole, brought a lot of customers in from really all over the world, and it was great for us to be able to showcase that. And then we had an exceptional championship. It was fun, and so we're going to continue to bring more and more of that to Louisville.
So, listen, I have to ask, obviously there was a kind of an international incident that happened on one of the mornings. Walk us through a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's something you don't really prepare for. I mean, we had worked so hard. We had 3,000 volunteers, and just 2 years leading into it, we want to deliver a great PGA Championship for the world to see. And then I get a call Friday morning early that, hey, Scotty Scheffler's on his way to jail, or headed to jail. I'm like, this can't be true. I mean, if you had to rank the 156 players in the field of who's most likely to go to jail, Scotty would probably be, in my mind, at the bottom.
At last.
Sure.
Last, So I'm like, there's got to be some mistake, some misunderstanding. And the first thing that went through my mind is like, if Scotty doesn't play in this event, if he's somehow not able to make his tee time, just the black eye it would have on our community. If it turns out that which it did turn out that there was a misunderstanding, he didn't do anything to really deserve to be down there. But and if we did that, I was just panicky. Just like this would be, because he was the biggest favorite going into a major championship since Tiger in like 2001 or whatever. I mean, like he just won the Masters, in dominant fashion. And he was winning other tournaments in dominant fashion.
I think he had won the past
4
three
or 5
or 4.
or something.
Yeah, something
Like,
crazy.
that doesn't happen in golf. And the victim would have been the fans that came out, brought their kids. They want to see the best player in the world. The TV viewers are watching it. Hey, is this the year somebody wins the Grand Slam? Because we're the second leg.
Yeah.
So basically explaining to people, this is Secretariat going into the Preakness,
Yeah.
not able to run because it had a misunderstanding, whatever, getting into the gate or something. So anyway, that was a concern. But Scotty, I have so much respect for him. I was happy to see him win the gold medal. Interesting to see him tear up on the stage about how much that meant to him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I learned, I was 54 or 55, and Scotty was half my age. I'm like, I learned a lot from this guy half my age. I personally would not have handled it the way he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't sitting there saying, I'm Scotty Scheffler. I'm just, because he really was. He was just trying to do his job. He's trying to get to the golf course.
Right.
We had, obviously, a fatality there. It was really sad. And the traffic was blocked off. And, whatever, I can go into that for a while. But it was a misunderstanding. But how he handled that, it was never about him. He realized, hey, somebody lost their life there that day. And, he was never claimed to be a victim. In a society now where everybody wants to claim to be a victim of something somehow, it was amazing. Mm-hmm. And he went out that day and shot 65. And anyway, I have a lot of respect for the guy. So we dodged that bullet that we never even saw coming.
Right.
And it went on to have a great championship. We had Xander was a great champion. He'd come so close in so many majors, finally broke through. And I spent a lot of time with him that evening and how excited he was. And he was great to the club and a great champion. And it brought the best players to the top of the leaderboard with an exciting finish, with a lot of people packed around the 18th green, and I really couldn't ask for much more.
I became a big fan of Bryson DeChambeau that week, and obviously even further during the U.S. Open. But he's so personable, and he's so easy to root for. With the whole live thing, I'd kind of pushed him to the side, but I thought he was just a class act as well during the whole championship.
He was, and I'm kind of like glad he made that putt on 18 because that made Scotty have to birdie 18. And you want to see somebody win it, not have to par to win it. But Scotty had to, Xander step up, had to make birdie on the last hole, and did, and made that putt, and just the emotion he had. But yeah, those two, which battled it out at the end of Valhalla, went on to win the next two major championships. With Bryson winning the U.S. Open and Xander winning the Open Championship. So it just made us feel better, that Valhalla brought the best players to the top. Coolest moment for you? Oh, gosh, during the PGA Championship? There's just too many. One of the things, we had a charity concert on the Wednesday night, raised $800,000 for junior golf charities in town. That Luke Bryan came and played. He's a member of Valhalla, and the community supported that, and it was a fun event, and it was a small event because we didn't have a big venue. But that made me happy that we did that, not only because we wanted to give back, and PGA does a great job. They have a thing called PGA. They want to leave a footprint in the community. They don't want to just come in, have a championship, take the money and leave. I mean, they're like, we want to leave a footprint. So they matched a big portion of what we made, and we're going to do some good things for junior golf in this area. You were at that concert, right, Charlie?
I was. It was a blast.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
It was epic. It was fun.
All right, so how was Tiger?
I spent some time with Tiger at the Champions Dinner. I got to go to that as the chairman of the event, which was really cool. It was at Churchill Downs. Brooks Koepka was the defending champion.
That's right.
And it was, as a golf nerd, whatever, junkie, whatever you
want
to call me.
That's why I have to ask, right?
When I got invited to that, I'm like, this is going to be really cool. So I spent a little time with Tiger there. And I remember talking about the 14th hole, how long it was. And he's like, this is a big boy golf course, a lot of long irons. And but I was so happy he played. The adversity he kind of went through to just be able to play and walk. And Valhalla is a hard walk.
Sure.
But he played. And he made the cut at the Masters, so I was hoping he'd play better. But that's golf. He didn't. But he was great. And he won there in 2000 at Valhalla against Bob May, that playoff. So I knew
a lot of history there.
He has some history there. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And so now, Jimmy, listen, I think you're kind of changing golf as far as it goes from the tour in the state of Kentucky even more. So now the ISCO Championship is coming to Hirschburn. Talk to us a little bit about that decision.
Yeah, we ISCO became a title sponsor responsible for the PGA Tour. There was an event opposite the Scottish Open that was the sponsorship that Barbasol had. It had had termed out. So they looking for a sponsor to pick it up. I wanted to keep it in Kentucky because if somebody picked it up, that they usually want it where their headquarters are, these corporations. So we ended up becoming the title sponsor, and I see it as kind of Kentucky's PGA Tour event on an annual basis that needs to kind of move throughout the state.
So you plan on moving courses?
Yeah. So we signed a 3-year deal with Hirschborn here in town. And so it's coming to Louisville, and obviously this community loves professional golf. But it's been in Lexington for like 6 years, and we'll have it here for a while and maybe move it around the state just so people coming in can see the things Kentucky has to offer and take it to fans around. I remember going to my first professional golf tournament. My dad took me to the Memorial up in Dublin, Ohio, which is 3.5 hours away.
Sure.
I still have great memories of that. But now, people can take their kids, and it's a very family-friendly event locally in Kentucky. So we're proud. It's great for us. It's kind of a dream of mine to be a PGA title sponsor. And now it's about how can we make that event as good as possible. I mean, how can we make it fun?
Sure.
And you don't have to love golf to come to a golf tournament.
Right.
I have 2 kids. My son's 24, played college golf. My daughter's 22, never really got the golf bug. They both love going to the PGA Championship, I think, equally as much. And I asked my daughter, I was like, what was so fun about it? And, she wasn't out there grinding, watching every golf shot, which my son was excited to do that. But she was like, you saw all these people, everybody smiling, and,
the socializing.
The socializing side. So how can we make... And I thought about that with the Derby. I mean, people go to the Derby, they spend 8 hours there.
That's right.
They watch 2 minutes of sports.
Right.
Sometimes watch other races, but mainly they're 2 minutes of sports, and and Louisvillians don't want to miss it. So how can we create that same thing for the ISCO Championship? So you appeal to a lot of people. Come out for the social side of it, and you're in a fun environment around professional sports, and as well as see some of the best golfers in the world play.
All right, so let's wrap this up with one more question, and I'd like for all of you guys to potentially answer this. So let's say you are a young business professional or an aspiring entrepreneur. What advice would you give to a future business leader?
Well, my dad gave us this advice, and this is... I think it speaks volumes. It's very simple. It's make sure you wake up every day and you're getting 5 years of experience. Don't just get 1 year of experience 5 times. And that's getting back to the giving people opportunities and giving them opportunities to grow. But if you're sitting in a job that you realize isn't growing, isn't the future, isn't your future, it's time to evaluate what you're doing and go somewhere and get that 5 years of experience.
I like that.
Well, we have some words that are in our lobby when you walk in, and this is, I'll generically say this is it's referred to as man, not woman. So please take that because this is an old saying. But it says the measure of a man's character is what he would do if he knew he would never be found out.
Good point.
So you could say that with women too, but regardless, I mean, it's just you have to have good character, and if you do that, you do all the right things, it's going to work out for you.
Makes me think about golf when you say that, Jim, because it's very much a gentleman's game. I mean, you're out there controlling your own destiny and rules a lot of times when you're playing golf. So that's an interesting comment. Jimmy, how would you leave us on that one?
I'd say David Novak. You talk about leadership, and he's one of the worldwide experts of that, and in podcasting, writing books, and definitely a mentor of mine. Says people won't care about you unless they know you care about them, and the people you deal with. Business is about, it's really people and money, right? And the people you deal with, if you're not the type of person that has sincere care about other people's and wanting to help other people be successful and, care about their outcome, then nobody's going to care about you. And they shouldn't if you don't care about them. So that's great advice is surround yourself with the right people, care about them, and they'll care about you. And you're each caring about each other's, mutual success in the future, and that works out. I'd also say, don't get caught chasing volume. It's easy to say, I can grow. I talk a lot about growth, but if you're just chasing volume, to grow just to grow is the wrong thing. Find a way that you have a value proposition that's going to make you grow and you don't have to chase it.
What a great answer. Guys, this was a fantastic podcast. I can't thank you guys enough for your time. Jimmy, thank you for gracing us with your presence today. It's I think our listeners learned a lot today, so thank you so much.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yep, appreciate
Glad to
it.
be here, and thanks to the Dahlem brothers for everything you do in the community and the business you've created. And I'm a homer for Louisville, right? And you need good business people, entrepreneurs, reason to take risks in this community, employ people, give people opportunities, and you guys are some assets to our community.
Thanks, Jimmy.
You're very kind. Thanks.
So listen, whether you're a seasoned investor, a business owner looking to expand, or just curious about the trends shaping our cities and communities, you've come to the right place. Each episode, we'll dive into the latest market trends, share success stories, and provide valuable advice on navigating commercial real estate and business development. Thank you for joining us for today's podcast.